and welcome to our Goorm IDE setup. Hi everyone. This is a quick walkthrough of how to set up your Goorm user environment for our course. In order to do so, you're going to want to go to ide.goorm.io. Then click on Sign Up. To sign up, use the Google tile and select your valpo.edu email address. That is so that you can receive the confirmation email from Goorm, and from there, select Try It for Free. That will get you to the Goorm login screen again, and you can build your account. I've already done that. So you're seeing me sign in right now into the dashboard. The dashboard contains all the containers. You will create a new container for this class. Here is how to configure it. You're going to want to name it something that you recognize, like database class, for example. And then for your region server, select the one that is closest to where you're located. I'm located in North America, so I'm picking Oregon, US. Then we're going to scroll down to Stack. In Stack, select Node.js. That's because this is where MySQL, the database management system we're using for this course, lives. Next, we're going to install as an additional module the customization for the Udemy course, the Ultimate MySQL Bootcamp, and that is a shortcut to installing everything that we need for the course. And then we're going to hit Create. It will take a few minutes to provision the 4 modules for this class. I'm going to, at this point, stop my recording and come back in a moment. All right, so we're now going to start our database class container. In order to do so, we click on Run. This will load our container. And then we will conduct our basic database checkout. Here is the IDE interface. You're seeing the project and the files screen is on the left-hand side. The file contents you will be able to see when you open a file in the upper right-hand side, and your terminal here is at the bottom right-hand side. We're going to wait until our prompt comes up. All right, and here is our prompt. At our user prompt, we're now going to check out whether our database has installed correctly. First, we're going to check out the DBMS itself, MySQL. In order to do so, we're going to type mysql-ctl CLI for command line interface, and we're going to hit Enter. This should show us that MySQL 5.7 database has been added with the root user, and we're going to be automatically logged into the MySQL database or database schema. Typically, you will not log into a database as the root user. That is a huge security issue, given that this can lead to a privilege escalation attack by a hacker who might be able to intercept the root password. At this point, we are dropped into our MySQL prompt, as you're seeing down here. Again, typically you would log into a database as a DB admin user or a user with just enough permissions in order to execute your daily job, but not more. So logging in with root is highly unusual. However, here we are. And at the MySQL prompt, we are now going to check whether the databases inside of our DBMS have installed. Think of your DBMS as a dresser and think of the databases inside of your DBMS as the drawers in a dresser. In order to do this, we're going to type show databases. And we're seeing here we've got 4 databases, or database schemas as other people call them, installed. We've got Information Schema, MySQL, Performance Schema, and Sys, which is exactly what we're expecting to see. In order to see if the tables have actually installed inside of our database schemas, that's another thing we need to verify, we type use and then the name of the database schema. In our case, let's take a look at MySQL. We want to get in the habit of typing a semicolon at the end of each line. This is the typical end of line character or delimiter character that tells MySQL that a command was preceding it and should be executed. As you can see here, it says database changed. This is great. So now we can see if inside of this MySQL database or database schema, we actually have any tables. So what we've done right now is very similar to opening the drawer on your dresser, and we're going to look inside to see what is inside our drawer. So for this, we're going to type show tables, again with a semicolon, and we're seeing here a number of tables. I'm going to make the screen a little bit bigger. Here, as you can see, are the tables that we have inside of our MySQL MySQL schema. One of our tables is the user table. Let's take a look at that. In order to look at a table, we need a different command. We can type describe. And again, describe user. We need the exact name of the table with our semicolon. And here we're seeing the architecture of our table. In the first column here, we see the field names. The field names are like the column names of our table. So these are the columns in our tables, a lot of them, that contain information, that contain data. In the second column here, we're seeing the types of data that these fields can contain and the field length. So for example, the host field, that's the host column, can contain a name that is alphanumeric with alpha characters and that is 60 characters long. Our user field can contain only a string of 32 characters. We see here a number of other columns or field names here that have enum values. Those are basically like drop-down selection values. Here it's just yes or no. And we see other data types. Blob is a very large number. Int 11 is a regular integer. And we have here small int 5. That's a small integer with just a field length of 5. Here we have free text and we have a timestamp. So now we know that we have the columns. We know what kinds of data we can put in the columns. Now let's see if we have to put data in the columns. That is designated by the null description here. Null means can the field be empty or not? Null is not 0. Null literally means empty, nothing. So here we're seeing that most of our fields are not allowed to be empty. They have to contain data. But some of them are allowed to be empty. Okay, fine. So if I add a new row to my table, what kinds of data do I have to add or are automatically added? Well, first we have here our specific line number or row designation called the primary key. It is basically a key, a specific number that is specific to this one row of data in this one table. Think of it as your student ID or as the license plate of your car or as your tax ID. In the default column here, we have the default designators, the default constraints, if you will, for each of the columns. Here, since these columns are not allowed to be empty, they're set to the default of no, because our options are no and yes, right? Here we have a default of null, which doesn't quite go with the fact that they're not supposed to be empty. And here we have a default of 0. Now remember, 0 is not null, right? Good. So it looks like the table has been described correctly. All right, next thing. Let's take a look at our course database, the movie stream database. In order to install the movie stream database, we're going to do the following. We're going to add a new file with a plus sign here, and we're going to call it, I'm going to call it movie.sql. So you'll see as I type enter, you'll see a little tab opening up here. See that? All right. So at this point, I have downloaded my movie stream SQL file here from my Blackboard environment, and I'm going to select all, and I'm going to copy, and I'm going to copy this with a Control V into this file. And here's a little asterisk that tells me this file needs to be saved, so I go to File and Save. All right, file has been saved, as you can see. So, and now I can install this file with the course database. In order to do this, okay, I'm going to make a little bit more real estate available. In order to do this, I'm going to type source and then movie.sql. Source is the Unix command for opening and executing a file. So all I have to do is hit enter, and then my course database is being installed, as you can see right now. All right, so we're done. We're going to follow exactly the same procedure that we had before. We're going to type show databases to see whether our movie stream database has installed. And as you're seeing here, we have movie stream right there. So one note about Unix. Unix is case sensitive. This environment runs on Unix, which means that you're going to have to type the case structure of your table name or of your database name exactly the way that you're seeing it. So if I want to go inside of my movie stream database or use my movie stream database, I have to type use and then movie stream all uppercase. And you're seeing database changed, right? If I type movie stream lowercase, it has the same characters. It doesn't do anything. It gives me an unknown database error because movie stream lowercase is not known to the system. All right, but we were in movie stream, so let's take a look at the tables. I'm going to type show tables. And as you can see, we have here our tables. All our tables are in uppercase, right? So I'm going to, in order to look at a table, I'm going to have to type describe and then any of our tables, like movie, for example. As you're seeing here, this is the structure of my movie table. It's a lot smaller than the user table that we looked at previously, right? But it still has all of the designators and all the constraints that we're looking at here, whether fields can be nullable, what the primary key is, that is the field that carries the individual line number for this particular row in the table, whether the fields can be set to null or not. And again, here is very important to be aware of the case sensitivity. If I were going to type describe, or yeah, I can also just use DESC, it's the same thing. Movie as lowercase, I'm going to get an error saying that this table does not exist because the system does not know there's a lowercase movie table, because there isn't, right? Instead, I can use my arrow up button in order to bring my last command back, and then describe movie in uppercase, and we're going to get the same output here. Note that DESC is what's called a command alias, a shorter command for the describe command. And that's all. And we're done. In order to log out, you can go to your name up here and select sign out. Selecting sign out will automatically close the container, but your information will persist. So I'm going to select sign out here. Are you sure you want to sign out? I'm going to select yes. And as you're seeing here, the connection is being closed and I'm being dropped back into the sign-in screen. And that is it. Thank you.